Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to another special interview here as Algeria hosts the Intra-African Trade Fair 2025 in the capital. The event is still happening as we speak, and today we're joined by Ms. Zanele Sanni, Chief Director, Export Promotion and Marketing of South Africa. Welcome to Algeria, and great to have you with us.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the warm welcome.
You're welcome. How do you describe the atmosphere here in Algeria?
I would say that it's very warm, very excited to be here, struggling a little bit with the weather, but enjoying the welcome by the people. Everyone has been very kind to us, very helpful, and enjoying Algerian food as well. Thank you.
As the first questions, that was a warm-up question, by the way. So let us start with the talks between Algeria and South Africa that happened recently. I mean, they've been described as successful. I mean, how do you evaluate economic and strategic ties between the two countries?
I think that the economic and strategic ties between our two countries are growing in a positive direction. And I think that's contextualized by the historical ties between our two countries. I think to come into a country where the stadium, one of the biggest stadiums, is named after your heroes, the Nelson Mandela Stadium, just really shows that even at a social level, there are strong ties between our two countries. And I think us coming here on the back of the visit by our president in December last year, 2024, on a state visit, really shows the commitment by our two countries to strengthen the economic ties. With us being here now, there's been an opportunity for our ministers to start looking at specifics around the economic ties to really take the relationship to a strategic level.
I mean, after these successful ties that have been, described historic, what is the very next step according to you?
If you had been in some of the meetings that I was privileged to attend between our Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Minister Pax Tau, and three of his counterparts here in Algeria, you would have been privileged to hear around some of the tasks that they actually gave to us as the officials around concretizing the commitments to look at collaboration between our two countries. I think one of them is really looking at trade. We understand that the mandate of the Ministry of Foreign Trade and Export Promotion is really to diversify the markets to which Algeria exports, and we also have similar. So there's work that we have to do in terms of sharing, the products which we can exchange with each other, us participating more in the trade fairs that you will host, and also having Algerian exhibitors and producers coming to South Africa to showcase. So we've really been tasked to look at specific work that can be done around that. There's also been work that looks at really more collaboration amongst our two countries. I think there's each of our two countries has very specific strength. If you look at Algeria, there's a lot of strength around energy. If you look at South Africa, there's a lot of strength that is, contributed to our economy in terms of minerals and mining. And the two countries then have the two complementarities to say what can they do with the wealth that each of the countries have to then help grow each other's economies, for lack of a better word. So we've really been tasked to find specific projects to do specific works, and the ministers have really tasked us to say this work must be done by the end of December 2024, which we will present, and then there'll be progress that will be monitored by our ministers.
What is the message that you can convey to, let's say, South African companies or businessmen to let's say, show this opportunity here in Algeria?
I really do not have to say a lot to South African business people, and I'm saying that very respectfully. South Africa is one of the leading investors in the continent, so they always identify opportunities even before the governments do it. So I think this law that has been passed, it's really a greater incentive for South African investors to come into Algeria because it provides certainty. I think there's incentives that will then be provided, really making Algeria another lucrative destination for South African investment. So we're really excited about it, particularly in the areas where we have strength, where the opportunities are opening up, and we like that. We appreciate that the Algerian government has really put this law in place to assist investors and also our development financial institutions and our commercial banks who will really be facilitating some of the transactions. So that provides certainty, and it also indicates I think the commitment that the Algerian government has to growing investment into the country.
Let's take a closer look at the Intra-African Trade Fair. The IATF, is often known as a marketplace and a key platform for implementing the AFCFTA. Beyond bilateral agreements, with Algeria, how does South Africa envision, this fair for accelerating economic integration for the entire continent?
This fair is absolutely critical. And I think maybe just to take it back to South Africa a little bit, in terms of what we want to do as a country in diversifying our markets to send our products to, Africa is a particular focal area for us. And the reason why I say that, some of the trade that we have with our trade partners globally, the trade is very much based on primary products. But our trade with the African continent is really based on value-added products where there's been beneficiation. So to bring it back to the question that you asked, when you have a platform like the Intra-Africa Trade Fair, where all African countries, all African buyers, and all African producers converge, it's actually the perfect platform which makes the AFCFTA very implementable, because you have exhibitors, you have buyers, and you also have, I think what Algeria has done very well, the conference that then talks to some of the issues that then facilitate trades, the master classes that have been had. So I really do think that it's almost a perfect solution, dare I say so, to really facilitate trade between our African countries with each other.
So as we speak about the facilitating trade and transportation, for example, logistics across or within Africa, Algeria tries, as you said, to ease obstacles faced by the intra-African trade by establishing strategic projects, including the Trans-Saharan railway. How can the partnerships and agreements signed in this fair cope with the challenges and overcome the obstacles of the AFCFTA? Trying to take Algeria or Algeria's participation as an example.
Okay. I think that the ambitions that Algeria has in really trying to become the logistical hubs are very welcome. And I think that being at the top of the continent and South Africa being at the bottom of the continent,
yes.
The extreme south, so the two extreme polarities of the country, we really do need the transport linkages, whether that be airlines, whether that be railway, which is very key, I think, for us countries that are endowed with mineral wealth, whether you have the airlines, as I said, for cold storage to facilitate the produce that most of our countries are endowed with, and also the ships, of course, for the heavy goods like the automotives that we are really trying to exchange. I think it's very important, because without that facilitation and being able to bring the goods into each other's territories, we will then fail. Mm-hmm. But I think most importantly, and I'm very excited about this, the people-to-people linkages that are then facilitated by that transport is extremely important. A lot of us coming from different countries had to go to other continents to come here to Algeria. So I think that us facilitating transport linkages for our goods is important, but the more we also focus on airline routes to bring the people closer, that just makes that trade facilitation better, because the participants can engage face to face.
let's break it down a little bit. I mean, how do you see the success of this fair
I think
in the future?
South Africa has participated from the very first show that was in Cairo. We were very privileged and honored to be able to host the second iteration. We are here now.
We have seen the statistics.
Yes. No, it's good to repeat them because I think what I'm trying to do is emphasize that our presence at each and every single show shows that we see this as an instrument that you cannot do without. So,
what I noticed, I mean, comparison with the other, let's say, editions that happened once in Cairo, South Africa, and again Cairo now in Algeria, is the growth of this.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
yes, intra-African trade is, I mean, increasing by the hour,
yes.
according to the statistics that.
Yes. No, absolutely. And as I was saying, us coming back because we are seeing that growth. We are seeing in the numbers. I'm not sure if you had the privilege to be at the opening ceremony, and the moderator mentioned that Algeria's ambitions are to have this as the best show. And already at the opening day, they were announcing that some of the metrics had been exceeded. So that evolutionary growth of the show means that for all African countries, including Algeria, including South Africa, this is one of those instruments that is Africa created, that is Africa managed, that is Africa operated. As you can see, there is no country that is not here. And the buyer sessions, if you look at those where people are able to exhibit, this becomes an instrument, like I said, that you cannot do without. So I believe in the future of the IATF personally, but I believe all of our governments do. And I think I can commit that South Africa will be in all the shows going forward, because we've just found that this brings everybody together. And it's actually quite an efficient way, as opposed to doing bilateral trade missions. There is the space for that, and I don't take that away. But when all countries converge in one place, it's really efficient, because there's opportunity not just to buy and sell, but there's also opportunities to form joint ventures. Some of the people that we have come with, they came looking at one product, but through engaging their counterparts, they are coming out with other products. Some of our sellers came to sell, but they've seen the opportunity to actually come and establish, because then they see that there's an opportunity to also service the entire North Africa market. So these opportunities, you can only see them when you are at an intra-Africa trade fair. So I really do believe in the future of this. And as you said, the numbers don't lie. The deals are getting stronger. The exhibitors are increasing in number. The conferences, in terms of the depth and the richness of the speakers and the master classes, there's no other place to be except at the Intra-Africa Trade Fair.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sanni, for your invaluable insights, and as we are having you as a guest here. And thank you so much, dear viewers, for watching. See you next time.